So when we're graphing straight lines, what it can help to realize is that it's always a relationship between something we want to find out and something that it depends on. This rule here could be a relationship like it costs $4 per student to go on a field trip. The cost depends on the number of students. So the number of students is what we call our independent variable, and the cost is the dependent variable. So if I said the cost equals 4 times number of students, then if my dependent variable is y, number of students is x, then 4 times x is 4x. That's this rule. It's not necessarily this relationship, but that's the sort of relationship that would give me this table of values. Now you remember that when we're making a table of values, we start with saying, what if x was 0? Because it's the easy one. 4 times x, 4 times 0 is 0. What if x was 1? This is like saying, what if there was one student and it cost $4? That's it. That's all we're doing. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. When we've filled in from 0, 1 and 2 and got the positives, the easiest way to get into the negatives is just to check what the pattern was. That's plus 4. That's plus 4. So to go back along, that'll be minus 4, that'll be minus 8. It's easier to just use the pattern. Now there's a little trick with the graphs. You've got 2 checks that you can do. The number on its own should turn up for the y value when x is 0. There's no number on its own here, so it's 0. And the number in front of the x should end up as the pattern. So when you've done your table of values, there's 2 things that you can check to make sure you're right. This number in front of the x should end up as the pattern. This one here, y equals x plus 5. This could just be a relationship like Alan gets $5 more per week than James. How much Alan gets depends on how much James gets. So Alan gets 5 more than whatever James gets. Or if Alan was y and James's amount was x, so it's not necessarily this relationship, but it's something like that, relationship between one thing that depends on another. We always start with the 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. See how in the rule 5 is on its own and 5 ended up here. It's the first check you can do. X plus 5, well when x is 1, this is like saying, what if James got $1? Oh, well Alan would get $6. What if James got $2? Alan would get $7. It's a what if table. What if it was $3 for x? 8. Easiest way to fill back is to check the pattern. This is plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. What number is in front of the x? It's a 1. The number in front of the x matches the pattern. So to follow the pattern back, that'll be 4 and 3. Now so far we've done 2 tables of values. We've got a graph that we can put those on. We plot each of the points. On my graph, I'd have to label the numbers. Having labelled the numbers, I also label x and y. And the number plane gets the points put in it, -2, -8. All the way down here. I didn't leave a -8 in here. So the points from here, -1, -4, 0, 0, 1, 4, 2, 8. You put in the points, you put a ruler through them neatly, an arrow at the end of each end of the line, and that was y equals 4x. We label it y equals 4x. It shows the relationship between y and x. The next line, y equals x plus 5. We get the points, -2, 3. -1, 4. 0, 5. 1, 6, 2, 7. 3, 8. Another really important check is make sure your points are all in a straight line. If they're not, there's probably something wrong. Put a line through it and label it with the rule. The last one's a little trickier. Y equals 4x plus 10. This is where we've got a starting point and then there's a change as well. This might be, it's $10 for a class to go to the museum plus $4 per student. Or it might be something completely different, but it's a relationship like that. Substitute x in. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 10 is 10. Remember, the number on the end on its own, without an x, ends up where x is 0. And then we can predict the pattern. The pattern's going to be going up by 4 because this is a positive 4. So I can predict that that's 14 and 18. Or we could substitute in and check. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 10 is 14. So there's lots of ways of filling in your table. Now this won't fit on a normal graph. We might have to go up by something like 4s or something like that, maybe up by 5s. I'd draw a graph and work through it. Now on the back of your worksheet, the first two, y equals 2x and y equals 3x, are just like this first one I did, y equals 4x. So if you're stuck, you can turn back to that. The next two, y plus equals x plus 3, y equals x minus 4, they're just like this one. And then the next two are the slightly harder ones. So if you get stuck, look back at how we did these.